For today's Wonderful Weapons Wednesday, I've got a Colt 1911. In particular, this is a Colt's Combat Commander in stainless steel, chambered for Super 38 ACP. That's a peeve of mine. It's not 38 Super, it's Super 38 ACP. This is a Model 80, which means it has the passive firing pin safety that the Model 70s and previous models don't have. I like it. I like having that extra safety in there. A lot of purists don't. This is an enhanced model, and so it came from the factory with some nice features that the standard 1911s don't have. The first is it has a lowered and widened ejection port, so the cases have free access to get out of the gun. And probably the nicest thing is they made a nice little cut in here where the trigger guard meets the frame, and it lets the hand get a little bit higher up in the gun, and it's just a really nice, comfortable feature. And I don't know why all 1911s don't have that. Only the enhanced Colts do, and it's just very nice. This is in Super 38 because of where I live. It's very restrictive, and 45s are hard to get. And I purchased this after going to Gunsight, and of course that's the home of the Colt government model. And I'm actually happy with the 38 Super 38. See, even I fall into this because so many people say it the wrong way. I'm really happy with the Super 38 because it's sort of a 9mm Magnum. With the Corbon loads that I carried, it pushes a 115 grain jacketed hollow point at a true 1,425 feet per second measured out of this pistol. That's basically 357 Magnum ballistics, but not in a 6-shot revolver, in a 10-shot or 9-shot semi-automatic pistol with quick reloads. So I like the cartridge a lot. I'm kind of a fan of the lighter, faster bullets. The way bullet construction is these days, it's not that much of a big deal anymore. But my preference is in the slightly lighter bullets in 9mm, 115 to 125 grain range. Disassembly of the Colt 1911 is a little bit different than the more modern recoil-operated semi-automatic pistols. We start, as in all pistols, by first making sure it's empty. So we're going to hit the magazine release, take the mag out, then we're going to lock the slide back, and we're going to visibly and physically check that there's no round in the chamber. Same thing with the mag well. We're going to run the slide forward. The very first thing we have to do is depress the recoil spring plunger, and that allows us to turn the barrel bushing, and now the recoil spring and the plug can come out. Then we rotate the bushing the other direction, and it will come out the front. Once we've done that, we pull the slide back. There's a little cutout here that will mate up with the back of the slide release lever, and then we push that from the other side and pull that out. And then the slide comes off the front like we're used to. What just dropped in my hand is the recoil spring guide. It is not a full-length guide rod. And you know what? That's fine. A lot of people don't like that. It works. I'm not changing that. And then the barrel comes out the front of the slide, which is unusual also. And that's field stripping the 1911 in its original configuration. If you go ahead and modify it by putting in a full-length guide rod, then that changes things up a little bit. Reassembly is in reverse order. Take the slide, put the barrel in from the front, then the barrel bushing. And this is a little bit tricky. The barrel has a link that the slide stop goes in, and that's what pivots the barrel in and out of battery when the slide's going back and forth. And when we put it back together, we have to look through the frame for that. So that gets a little tricky. The next thing we need to do is lay the recoil spring guide on the barrel, just loose like that, and then we put the slide on top. Now we can turn it upright, and I have to look through that hole and find that link, put the slide stop pin through the link. Now I can pull the slide back a little bit to where the cutout is, put the slide release all the way, slide stop button all the way through, bring that forward, rotate the barrel bushing, and insert that, and test to see if the slide works properly. So that's basically it. Very simple system. While we're here and we've got the close-up going on, let me show you those enhancements I was talking about on the Colt. They've lowered and flared the ejection port, so you might be able to see in here, this is actually beveled on the inside, and it's cut out here a little bit to make it easy for the empty cartridges to come out, so you're not going to have a failure to eject. And they made this cutout here where the trigger guard meets the frame, and it's just really a comfortable place for your middle finger. And I don't know why all 1911s don't have that, because it's just really more comfortable and gives you a couple of millimeters higher grip on the pistol, which is what we're looking for. All right, so let's load it up and see how she shoots. Hey, do you know the hammer's cocked on your pistol? I get that a lot when I used to carry this. The Colt 1911s, the government models, the Commanders, the officer models, they're single action, which means for them to be ready to be fired, they have to be cocked and locked. So the hammer has to be back, the thumb safety is on. Some people carry it with the hammer down in condition 2. I don't think that's appropriate. If you want that, get a different gun. This system's not for you. For that reason, I don't think this is a great beginner's gun, because it does require a little extra being on the ball to run with a firearm that has the hammer back and having to deal with safeties. It's not that it's unsafe, it's just a little bit more complicated, and it takes a little bit more dedication to training. So let's take a look at how this shoots. Once again, this is a Super 38 ACP. The reason it's a Super is in the early part of the 1900s, there was the 38 ACP, 38 automatic Colt pistol. In the 20s, the cops were looking for a little bit more powerful cartridge. In their gunfights with bad guys, a lot of times they had to shoot through sheet metal bodies, and the 38s they were carrying weren't cutting it. 357 hadn't been developed yet. So Colt pumped up their 38 ACP, didn't change the cartridge dimensions like the Magnums do. It's the same cartridge size. They just made it a little more powerful, and they chambered it for a little larger pistol, the government model, and called it the Super 38 ACP. In modern loadings with like the Corbon, it's running 115 grain jacketed hollow points at 1450, 1425 out of this pistol, actually measured over my packed chronograph. So it's a pretty hot round. Basically, I've got a 9-shot 357 Magnum with quick reloads. So enough talking, let's shoot. Pretty nice. It's a little bit more than the 9mm, but you're shooting in a full-size pistol. This one weighs around 38 ounces, so the little extra oomph of the Super 38 isn't really noticeable. It's very similar to shooting a 9mm out of, one of these plastic wonder guns like a Glock, Smith & Wesson M&P. It's an old design, 1911, so it's a little over 100 years old. Still a solid performer. And if you're willing to put in the time to learn how to use the single action system, cocked and locked, it's a viable alternative. And I won't debate the people that say this is the premier gunfighting pistol of the 20th and 21st centuries. This is another wonderful Wednesday of weapons. I'm Peter Burlingame of the Self-Defense Initiative. Please subscribe. All the cool kids are doing it. And tell your friends. Be safe out there.